Yeah, and we are live.
Oh,
Hello, welcome to this webinar that will be about the NextGEOSS Data Hub. You will get a first peek at this. And my name is Bente Liljaby. I'm one of the partners in NextGEOSS, and with me I have one that is doing the development of this data hub, Wolfgang Zoll. Hello, Wolfgang. Can you introduce yourself?
yeah. Hello, Bente. Yeah, I'm the project manager here at Wiederum in Berlin, Germany. And I'm very new to the geoscience, with the exception that I grew up 250 meters below the Earth's surface as a coal miner.
Yes, and we will have the pleasure of learning more about the NextGEOSS portal or the data hub now in the next 30 minutes. I will just some housekeeping first. We will record this webinar. So if you forgot to ask a question or you wanted to have a repeat, this will be possible in the replay. We also have a possibility to ask questions, and we have a chat box where you can post your questions, and I will have a look at them. And while Wolfgang is presenting the data hub, I will take a look at them and see if I can ask then Wolfgang afterwards. So please do ask questions. And but now I think we can just start and learn all about the NextGEOSS Data Hub.
Okay, thank you. We will start with some foils in PowerPoint, and then we will go to a short film which shows the actual features of NextGEOSS now. What is NextGEOSS? It's a project of the European Union from the Horizon 2020 program, and its aim is to bring data from the geosciences as well as from satellites, as from in situ, as open data through a CKAN installation to a lot of people, which are not only geoscientists, but also citizens and business. This is very exciting. CKAN is called Comprehensive Knowledge Archive Network. Is an open source software from the Open Knowledge International, which makes open data accessible by harvesting remote sources and collecting metadata. We are not storing the data themselves, but make them accessible through CKAN. One of the main goals is to make the user interface very easy, so that you can search and give feedback more comfortable than it is possible now. And additional, also business is addressed, and citizens, as well as consumer, as also as provider of data. What is the actual setup, or maybe a little bit architecture? We have sources from of the data from Copernicus and the Sentinel program. We have in situ data. We will see some in the film. We have a lot of institutions. Around 27 are now in the program in the project, and we have two kinds of goals. The one is an innovative research, where we do agricultural monitoring. It's one of the most important topics. We look at biodiversity, space and security, cold regions, and air pollutions in mega cities, as well as disaster risk reduction, as we see it actually in Florida, where we have actual Copernicus data all the time. In the business scenarios, there's a territorial planning assumed that food security should be better. The large topic of smart cities should be supported, and also the energy consumption and energy production with alternative energies. So what we have a lot of data sources. We have three ways to get them into CKAN. On the one hand, we have a normal federation or harvesting. For example, citizen observations will come into CKAN in the normal way. Then we have intermediate systems. For them, we will build special connectors that are Sentinel, land data, atmosphere, marine data, which through special connectors get to the CKAN data catalog and the access mechanism. And there is an existing application, GeoDAP, which will get an also a special connector, which will be integrated in an additional showcase. So first, what we did first was to define a user interface, which is ready now. We have other CKAN extensions. We will do a single sign-on so that if you sign on in CKAN, you can access databases which would normally need an additional user password combination. And we are now working on two mechanisms, that is community feedback and with Nimbus. I would say a little bit more about it, and data mining and discovery with OpenSearch. And with these two areas we are actually working on with two universities. One of the universities is University of Barcelona for Nimbus, and the other is Reading, where we will integrate Melody project outcome. So here,
Wolfgang, I think you can show the to aid people to understand the overview. Maybe you can share the foils that you have prepared.
Yes, they are free. We can put it somewhere, and everybody can have a look on it.
But could you put it up on your screen right now? Can you share the screen?
Sorry?
Can you share the screen with your presentation?
Oh, don't you see it?
No, we don't see it.
Oh, so, sorry.
No worries. So while Wolfgang is pulling up, it will be easier for you to follow the different components. There you go. Yeah. And then on the presentation mode, here you are. It will be easier to follow. Yes.
This was the foil I was talking about the last minute. Here in the middle, we see CKAN. On top, we see the data sources and how we bring them to CKAN. At the bottom, we will having some special CKAN extensions, a single sign-on, a community feedback mechanism, and a data mining discovery mechanism. So this work is in the whole that we have about more than 8 work packages in NextGEOSS at all. The work package 2 is only for the data hub around CKAN, and there are tasks defined, which, for example, 2.1 is made by Wiederum, the data hub himself, where we do the design. We will do normal harvesting. We will use a metadata scheme that starts with doubling core, and we will see which other metadata schemes we will integrate. Also, there are a lot of available and some in development, and we will look which will be most useful. We have some KPIs. We want to know who is using the data hub. So every provider of data can see how his data are used. And then we must build some infrastructure. You see below, staging in a cloud will be provided, and if access rates are growing, then we will have to support more power. The data connectors, I said earlier, will be built especially here for Sentinel, CMEMS, ARMINES, and we are working actually on the data mining discovery. We start with OpenSearch, which was invented from Amazon, and we will here put in some mechanisms of the semantic web, some modern technologies to get more out of large data sets by load them with data in the metadata area, which are stemming from the semantic web defined as from Tim Berners-Lee in the UK. And this will be done with the colleagues from the United Kingdom in Reading. And here the user feedback is customized to needs of geosciences. And there we will integrate the Nimbus application, which is from the University of Barcelona. The first look is now ready and will be seen in Reading this week, not in the film. The quality of service here in 2.5 will start later, and then we have as work package 2 connections to other work package where we will deliver some things. For example, here's the most important work is communication and dissemination, and that we are now just in. So let's have a look at the film. If you want to do a look by yourself, here's the URL provided. There's one problem. If you want to have a password, then you should send me a mail to xol@videorom.com, and then I will provide you user and password so that you can look by yourself what is shown in the film and what we are improving from week to week. So now we should have a look to the film. And
yes, thank you, Wolfgang. So we will actually show a demo of the Data Hub that you have recorded, and we will hear you explain the different components and what it does and how to use it. So, and I wrote for, like Wolfgang said, if you are interested in exploring this Data Hub yourself, it is actually possible, even though we are still in the alpha version of it. All you need to do is to write an email to Wolfgang, and I also wrote down the email to Wolfgang directly in the chat box here, if you missed the presentation. And I also would like to say, before we start the movie, Wolfgang, that we plan to do this kind of presentation, exactly the same, more or less, adding new information as we develop the Data Hub. We will do this once a month. So, and we hope to create a community that are interested in joining us and giving us feedback continuously. So that's one of the reasons why we are doing this. So I will start this 10-minute long demonstration of the Data Hub. Is there anything in particular that you want people to look out for, Wolfgang, before I start it?
No, sit comfortable and hear carefully.
Yes. Okay, here we go. And then after the video of a demonstration of the Data Hub, you will be able to ask questions. Please remember to write them in the chat, and we will pick them up. And otherwise, here we go. Let's see. I will start the video. See you on the other side.
Hello everyone. My name is Wolfgang Soll and I'm the project manager from Videorom
for the NextGEOSS project. The NextGEOSS project is part of the EU program Horizon 2020. NextGEOSS brings together data from the Earth observation community, which come from different sources like Copernicus satellites, on Sentinel missions, or in situ data like air quality measurements, for example, fine dust. The data in the portal shall enable new kind of innovative research and business usage. Users are not only scientists, but also citizens and people from business and government. In the next following minutes, we will give a short overview of the Data Hub of NextGEOSS project. The Data Hub portal is based on the open source solution CKAN from Open Knowledge International. Videorum is a company of Open Knowledge International and has built this alpha release on the Data Hub. This alpha is a proof of concept and will be enhanced more and more within the project with CKAN extensions, individual connectors, and much more functions and more datasets. We find the actual alpha release of the Data Hub with the URL https nextgeoss.ckan.io. At the top, you will find selectors for home, datasets, providers, topic, and the About section. If you scroll down the page, you see a search bar where you can give in your search query directly. This will be enhanced in the future with more elaborated search facilities. If we scroll further down, we can see that the Data Hub covers the whole process of data usage. You can provide new data so that users can find them and use them. You can explore use cases, and you can develop your own application with data from the Data Hub. The next section shows you the topics or domains where the data are relevant in agriculture, biodiversity, space and security, cold regions, air pollution, urban growth, food security, and smart cities. For all these topics, data are from satellite or in situ, that means from the ground, are gathered by a number of organizations who provide access to these data in different formats and for different purposes of each observation. The purpose of NextGEOSS is to enlarge the benefit of the data by giving business and civil society a broader access to the data via an easy access and less restrictions, as it is the core of open data. So let us take a look to the functions of the portal. Start exploring. After pressing Start exploring, we will first get to the sections Datasets. On the left side, we can find filters. There are filters for providers, topics, and tags. Tags come from the metadata associated with the raw data. We can see which data formats are in the actual set, JPEG and SVG for pictures, and KML, that is a keyhole markup language from Google Earth, we see. Often we find also CSV, tables with comma separated value, or PDF as a text format. We have also filters for different licenses, that means Creative Commons or others. In the middle and on the right side, we have space for descriptions of datasets. Let's have a look on example datasets. As I said, we can search in the datasets with a search string. We can also sort the dataset by relevance, name, descanning or ascanning, or we can search for datasets by the filters. On the left side, we had a list of filters with providers, topics, tags, formats, and licenses. We can see a dataset by using formats and selecting KML. This is a keyhole markup language which was introduced for Google Earth. There we find a dataset with real-time live air quality data. The source is US data.gov, and we can use the data free as open data. If we click on the KML button, we can freely download the data, and Google Earth is open to show the data. On the left sidebar of Google Earth, we can see the data from yesterday, current conditions, and forecasts. We can pick up different data. For example, some show us fine dust, PM 2.5 or PM 10, some show us ozone. We can click by name in the menu, or we can select points on the map. So we see here the current conditions in Little Rock North with slightly not so good PM 2.5 value of moderate 66. And we also see here good 32 of ozone. The example shows how easy it can be to visualize dataset. This is not always the case. If we follow the tag OCN, which stands for ocean, we will find datasets from the Sentinel missions. There we find the possibility to click on to download for a given dataset. If we do it, we will possibly ask for a user and password from the data owner. If we have no account, we will have to register at the data owner. This will be not necessary in the future release because NextGEOSS will have a single sign-on. A lot of files are coded in the network common data format. In this example, we see in the archive that we have the possibility to have a preview where the datasets is from, and we have the data itself called measurement, and here we see it's an NC data format, and we will need to have a browser or viewer for this type of data like Panoply or NC Browse, which are available as self-contained application, or we will have the possibility to look at these data with APIs to access the data with our own program. One word to licenses. The default is that all data are open data with no restrictions of usage. If there are any limits of usage, you will find a hint to an appropriate license and usage here. One word to social media. If we want to share a given data set in social media, we have here buttons for Google+, Twitter, and Facebook, and you can easily share the data set with your followers. In the providers section of the portal, you can see which provider has given how many data sets, and you will see here that most of the actual data sets are from Sentinel, but it's only the alpha version, and this section will grow if we go to production. There's another special page which is not shown with other points. This is a statistic page. There we can see some KPIs, key performance indicators. The aim is to provide data for the data providers, which data sets are relevant for the users on a daily base, on a monthly base, on the question, did they do API calls or did they come through the website, and so that the providers are enabled to improve their offerings here in the portal. When I said improve, then we should have a look here at the button on top of the page. On every page you will find a button to press to report a bug or to request a feature. As long as the system is in development, you can easily report bugs or request new features. Here is a field where you can write your issue. You can attach a file. If you have more information in a file, and on choice, you can provide information about your environment so that developers can see what is the environment of the bug when it was a bug you will report. The submit button finishes your process and sends the data to Jira software where developers can fix your problem. This will be enough to give a first impression. The functionality will grow in the next month. We are currently working on enriched search facilities and on sophisticated methods for user feedback to improve the service continuously. Thank you for your interest up to now.
Yes, that was a introduction and demo of first version of the Data Hub. And before I forget it, so to speak, I did post a file for you, the presentation that gave. I will make it available in the chat. So if you would like to download it, this will be possible. So I will call it NextGEOSS slides. And we have also a question, actually, from Jonas. Let me see. This is for you then, Wolfgang. Jonas asks, what kind of data providers will be linked in the single sign-on system? The ESA Science or Open Data Hub, or also others like USGS and NASA?
Yes, the EU and me are hoping that it will be a lot of providers which join the activity. In the first run, at least the public financed European data providers will join us here. So, and if we develop good and sustainable business models for other stakeholders in this area, there might be more and more data. Last week, we got a study from three very interesting young MBA students, which looked at the business model, the possible business model, the business case, how the outcome of NextGEOSS will be change the things. Let me say one thing. 10 years ago, a lot of people wanted to try only to make money with geodata. This has changed a little bit. The Inspire directive in Europe has said no, our default is open data, and I see it in other open data areas that there's a rising moment to provide to all people the data for free, and then to charge for different kind of usage when you, let me say, if a small company is doing consulting with satellite photos to help farmers to improve their working to do not too much and not to less ammonium nitrate into the soil, then they will get charged, because they will also improve the harvest of the farmers too. And these are business models which are coming up. And if they are successful, that you can make money at the end of the pipe, as we had it in, let's say, in open source communities where Linux, you can make money with service, but you can get the open source free. This will be more successful, more and more where we have functionality. This is not unproblematically, because not all satellites, for example, are operated by public service, but there are some private companies, and we will see whether they will join the track or not. And our motto is always "Go West, boy."
Yes, so I mean, of course, with the Copernicus program, we made a big step forward with respect to making data open and freely available. And of course, you mentioned also the Inspired Directive for governmental data is not only sharing data among the governments now, but they are opening more and more of the data to the public. So this is a trend that we see. And we will link to those kind of data, but I think we are also actually including in our data hub the possibility of getting access to not open data. I mean all types of data. The data hub will handle all types of data from all types of data providers, right?
Yeah. Yes, I've seen some licenses which are a little bit restrictive, and you have to notify the owner and so on. And but it is getting more open every day. And the last we will integrate are the military satellites. They have a special kind of culture. Say so, but you have seen in the example with Google Earth, it were data, KML data from the US, and they are free available. And the open data movement largely has started in the United States, and we are a little bit back in Europe, but we are catching up more and more, even especially with NextGEOSS and other measurements.
Yes. So I hope that answered at least some of your questions, Jonas. Now we have another question from Vasilis. And this is a more technical question for you, I guess, than Wolfgang. The question is there any technical reason why you base the solution on CKAN rather than DKAN, as DKAN is based on CKAN but makes data more open and accessible?
Yes, it's a complicated question, because I must judge over a competitor. I don't know. I've been now here for a month, and I do not know what the process of decision was in the European Union. But CKAN is not only a product; it's also a product of the Open Knowledge Foundation or Open Knowledge International, which is a well-known international non-profit organization, and so this might be been here in Germany with the open data portals. We have about, let me say, or I guess, 5% are DKAN, and the other portals are CKAN. This might change in the future. You have seen it in the open source community with Linux, or with open, what is it, the word processing and so on. The Office suites, we have split it in two now, and this is normal living. I do not see specific technical improvements which we do not have in CKAN, because we are doing a lot of individual enhancement and attachment and connections, which we will integrate to the open source CKAN as well again. So yeah. Your mileage may vary, right?
Yeah. Vary. Yeah, no, but I think also, Wolfgang, if I have understood it correctly, that CKAN is slightly different than DKAN, that CKAN can solve some of the problems that DCAN can't, but DCAN is more on the maybe on the end user side. We will make. Thank you, Vasilis, for this question. I will make note of this, and we will distinguish the two, because I think this is a question that other people also might ask that has some knowledge about it. So I think we can provide some information distinguishing the two and the link between them. So I don't see any more questions right now. And we are slightly over the half hour. So I think we are finished for this time. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. We hope to see you again. And stay tuned, so that you stay tuned and see how we progress with our Data Hub. And feel free to suggest functionalities and post interesting question for us. So I think this is us for us now, unless you have a few final words, Wolfgang.
Yes, I think for us, we should consider setting up a mailing list, because we are very quickly adding features, and so we, in the progress of a month, we will have to show new things, and so we should collect mail address if anyone is interested to get continual information.
Yes, so this will be a monthly event. We will have this type of webinar with an introduction of the NextGEOSS data portal, and every month. And we are collecting emails in this registration process, but we should definitely collect that specifically and maintain the contact with our community. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Wolfgang, for giving us this introduction. Thank you, the audience, and we hope to see you next month. Bye-bye.
Bye.